What do you do when you win? What happens when your company has been successful? So imagine you've just gotten a big annual bonus, or you've just gotten payoff from some debt that was owed, or you've just gotten the biggest payoff of all, the company sold to someone. What do you do with that money? Well, the answer is you don't rush out and spend it on the Lambo and the trip to Saint-Tropez and those sorts of things. That'd be a very foolish way to proceed. But there are things you should do, and I'm going to talk about them today. Most people, despite having been successful in business, screw this part up big time. So when you get a big windfall, especially when you've sold a company, the first thing you think about is, how can I celebrate? I've done all of this, I've worked my butt off, I've suddenly been paid off, and now I want some proof that I have done that. So you want to go out and buy the luxury goods, you want to go out and eat at the fine restaurants, you want to go out and vacation with the stars. That is exactly the wrong thing to do at this point. Wealth is not measured by your spending power. Wealth is measured by your net worth. And what is your net worth? It's your assets, the things you own that are of value, minus your liabilities, the debts that you owe and things like that. If that is positive and large, you're rich. Just because you have a good income does not mean you're rich. I have seen several times people who think that having a large income or a large payoff qualifies them to be rich, which means they can buy anything they want. The problem is that isn't true. That money, that income is very fragile. It could disappear next week. Certainly the payoff of selling your company is not going to repeat next week. That is the mistake that people make, and it is a fatal one. You do not spend money off of income for luxury goods. You just don't do it. You spend money from long-term passive income growth for luxury goods. And that means you will conserve the wealth you have accrued and not friddle it away. Take the Lamborghini example. You have a loan on it, no doubt. That's a liability. You're paying interest to some bank somewhere for the privilege of driving the Lamborghini. And the Lamborghini itself, it's decreasing in value. Probably 15 to 20% a year it's decreasing in value. If you notice that almost all of the things associated with the flashy lifestyle depreciate in value very, very fast and do not provide any long-term wealth. Even if you pay cash for your Lambo or your trip to Saint-Tropez or whatever, that money could have been used in longer-term investments to return money perpetually over time. And therein lies the mistake that is made by people who suddenly have windfall cash, is they think it's to be spent when in fact it's to be invested. Let me ask you a question. Would you buy a house that dropped 20% in value the day you moved in and continued to drop in value every year? No, of course not. Then why would you do it for a car? Even things that everybody thinks appreciate in value don't generally appreciate in value. Rolex watches, for example. No, they don't appreciate in value on the average. They depreciate, just not as much as a Lambo. If you're buying an asset of depreciating value, you're being foolish. When I got my first big payoff with my first company, I did not rush out and change my lifestyle in any way. I continued to drive my beat-up old Pinto. I continued to live in the rental house that I had been living in because I could afford it. I continued to live the same lifestyle I had. Why? Because I wanted to take that money and have it return benefits for the rest of my life. And so I invested it. It is from that money that I have bought my luxuries in the intervening years. Your business success should fund your future. Its purpose is not to impress strangers on the internet. Why do you care what they think? I would far rather have a large bank account than a bunch of flashy cars in my driveway. It is profit from passive income that you buy luxuries from, if you buy them at all. It is not from draining your capital that you buy anything except investments. So buy investments and take the time to get them to pay off, and then buy your luxury goods. This isn't about being cheap. It's about being smart. It is about using your money in the way that over the long term gives you the best return, the most satisfying life, the best feeling of security. And that does not come from flash. You can either burn through your windfall and likely be broke again next year, or you can use it to build something that will last. One of the things that's there is you may need that money to save your company later because there's something gone wrong. That's an adequate and good choice for the use of that money. But you won't have it if you've gone the flashy route. The decision you make when you get the windfall is whether you will be apparently rich for a season or whether you'll be wealthy for a lifetime. The choice is yours. Like always, please like and subscribe to the channel below. Thank you.